Hello and welcome to Perspectives on the Voice of America. I'm Dimyake Mwakalialie. Today we look back at the life of Bo Diddley, one of America's most influential singers, songwriters, and guitar legends. Diddley died Monday at the age of 79. He was born Arthur Ellis Bates in Mississippi in 1928. His stage name, Bo Diddley, came from two sources: the diddley bow, an African stringed instrument, and the slang expression for a mischievous boy. Diddley taught himself to play guitar, drawing on the influence of jazz artist Louis Jordan and bluesman John Lee Hooker. He has often been cited as a key figure in the transition from blues to rock and roll. Diddley broke new ground in rock and roll's formative years with his unique guitar work and his use of African rhythms. Here are some facts about Bo Diddley. Bo Diddley was well known for his square guitar, dark glasses, and black hat. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987 and had a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. He received a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1999 at the Grammy Awards. Bo Diddley took the blues and folk music of his native Mississippi and combined them with Latin American and African rhythms to come up with his trademark ham bone or Bo Diddley beat. And finally, Bo Diddley's ham bone beat is an African-based 4/4 rhythm pattern, bom bom bom, bom bom. Other artists have picked it up and have made it a distinctive and recurring element in rock and roll through the decades. Joining us in the studio now to discuss the life and musical influence of Bo Diddley is Voice of America's Jackson Mvunganyi of Upfront. Welcome.
Hello, Dimyake.
Before we go to the interview, though, we'd like you to just get a little sense of Bo Diddley's beats. Thank you. Now that we've heard a little bit of what the Bo Diddley beat was about, Jackson, how do you explain that even though he was classified with the likes of Elvis Presley, Little Richard, and even Chuck Berry, he never seemed to get the same credit or the accolades?
Indeed, indeed. He was a true pioneer of rock and roll and very much respected at the time and still up to today. And his legacy still lives on. But he was never able to make that crossover, appeal to the mainstream audience at the time, at the peak of his career, which was the 50s. And so people, why? I guess it was, it has to do with the company that is promoting you. The music industry at the time was appealing to a certain segment of the society, and there were people who were playing the same music that he was, or who were copying his style. People like Elvis Presley and other, non-African American rock and roll musicians.
But now, how do you also? It obviously is very relevant that even at that time he had a label, Checkers Players. It was a label.
But it was not a very influential label, or not very rich. If you look at the evolution of blues, rock and roll, and these artists, Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, and people like him in the 50s, they were playing to a very limited audience, a very limited audience in the South. And so for them to make that crossover appeal came in when people like Elvis Presley took on their music and started using it, but they really they had a very limited audience, and I think that really accounted for the fact that they never made a lot of money from, a lot of commercial success came from what type of audience you sang to.
He was also, it seems, a very unique character. He came up with his own style of music, right. And he kind of invented the square guitar.
And it still lives on up to now. That square guitar was very interesting to look at the way he plays it. But he was a very interesting character. His beat, the bom bom bom, the 4x4 African rhythm, has been copied by every rock and roller that you listen to now. U2, Bono. Everybody gives him accolades for having been a pioneer in his times.
Yet up until the time he died, he complained he never got paid.
He never really made a lot of money from his trade. But I guess other people are getting money from him. I mean, getting paid from his music.
Is there a way to explain why?
Like I said earlier, he had a very limited base. At the time, you would have to go into the finite details of what type of record deal he had at the time. Most of them never retained the ownership of their music, and so the music was passed on with the deals. Meant that you sell your music and ownership to the record company, so it made more profit than the artist himself.
But obviously his music will live forever. Thank you so much, Jackson
You're welcome.
Mvunganyi of Upfront. And that's all from us today. Until next week, I'm Dimyake Mwakaliele for the Voice of America.